Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, otherwise known as the Wasteland of broken cars and even more broken houses. This is going to be the second installment in my series of rental home renovations. I'm a little bit behind on my ambitions for today, and that's because it was really windy, like 70-mile-an-hour winds here from the Santa Ana winds in the Southern California foothills. So I spent most of the day defending the castle. Let's go take a look. You see here on my garage, the stucco paper, which is now fading, which is great. I've had to add these wood slats to help keep the paper down because no matter how many staples I put in it, it still tears away. And you can see it's tearing away in big chunks. So I just started slapping wood everywhere I could. On the back here, I've added wood here. I've also laid the ladder and this table. This ladder actually was on the second story, laying flat, and I came out here this morning and it was on the ground. So the wind picked up the ladder and threw it off of my garage. Over here I added a slat, but I ran out of scrap wood. Also ran out of screws. And I tried to use a hammer and nail, but I promptly hammered the crap out of my thumb, so that's just not on the menu going forward. Let's go up the tarp-covered stairs here. I started replacing a couple of rocks with old car parts. And here is where all my effort went. All of those sandbags. I filled all of those with the help of my wife. Thank you very much. Yeah, not all of the sandbags. The ones that were around the edges here, I had filled and laid down prior, but everything in the middle of the garage, I put down. I think what happened with the ladder was that on this side of here, wind was getting up underneath the tarp and just picking up the whole thing. The whole thing was raising up probably a good 2 feet, and it just chucked the ladder right off the edge. And that's where I sourced the dirt from. I also made some sandbags to put on top of the Triumph. They are much lighter than the ones I put up on the roof here because knowing British cars, it'll just flatten under the weight of a single sandbag. I put the heavier one on the trunk though. I think it'll be fine there considering the trunk lid already weighed about 200 pounds. Coming down to the Wasteland, you can see my process here. I start with a pick and I break down the dirt, separate it from the rocks on the hill here, and then I use that little sifter contraption that I built right over my wheelbarrow, and that sifts the dirt from the rocks, separates it pretty nicely. There's the bed of rocks. And if I need dirt, I go do that. If I need rocks, I come here. If I need big rocks, well, oh, those are a little too big. But I've used a lot of very big rocks that I can barely lift myself. Most of them are kind of picked off of this hill and from back there. Moving along to the front yard of the rental, I have formed up a lot more rocks, move them over and place them around this brick formation here. It really gives a nice separation between, well, if you call that a yard, and something that you can actually step on without breaking a sprinkler. I decided that I'm not going to have a sprinkler system because, yeah, I think I stepped on 3 sprinklers while I was out here. So I got that all built out. I added a couple of big rocks down there. I still got to clean all that up. And I got to add more rocks here. It's a little low. But on this side over here, I know I said I was going to fill it with concrete, but I'm going to call an audible now that I've got it dug out. And the reason is that this dirt is quite wet. It rained probably a week ago. And the fact that this dirt is just so wet and so soft is telling me that putting down concrete here, filling this little area with concrete is going to be a very bad idea because guess where the water is going to go? It's going to go right into my crawl space. I don't want that. So I am going to take a couple of paver stones, these hex ones. I have a bunch more out back. And I'm just gonna lay them in here along with some sand, pack them down so that nothing grows there. I'm gonna put like weed barrier underneath it. I just don't want things to grow there. That's the only reason why I want to do anything here. Same with here. I'm actually gonna lay down some weed barrier and then put aggregate rocks, tiny little rocks about that big, from guess where, out back. I'm still planning to do the recycled concrete out here because that's permeable anyway. So while I was not planning on moving a half ton of rocks today, I'm still really glad I did because this looks really nice. I'm too tired to start on any major efforts over there, but you know, I'll just come back to it tomorrow and get right to work. I also obviously have the concrete end caps that I want to pour at either side of the pad. I'm gonna start the day tomorrow doing that. That was always my intention, is to do it fresh in the morning, but I had this thing come up and it just didn't happen today. Real quick, because I got wet concrete here, I want to show you my progress before I dump in the concrete. You see here, I've used some rebar. This is all scraps from out back from building my garage. So I drove one piece into the ground. It was something like 18 inches long. And then I just wired it up to a horizontal piece. And that's just gonna help keep it in place and reinforce it. I got about 2.5 inches. I think that's gonna be good enough. And I just used some wood scraps to shore it up. So I got this concrete here. I got it mixed. I'm gonna dump it in. I've already got it done on the other side. I'll show you when I'm done with both sides. I have to say that was looking a little dicey for a minute. I thought I was not gonna have enough, and it looks like I had barely enough. So I'm going to let this dry for, I don't know, a day or two before I take these forms off. And then I can backfill it with dirt, and then I can finish filling in the little slots in between the paver stones with sand, and I'll be done with this project. Let's move on over to this other side here. I started off here, and it's a little bit thicker, and that is because the tiles have a natural tendency to push downhill. So I wanted this side to be a little bit stronger. I used a 2x6 instead of a 2x4, and set the rebar deeper. I actually used these steel anchors, just because, again, I had them laying around from my much bigger construction projects, so I figured I'd just use them. I think this is gonna come out okay. And same process, I gotta fill in the slots in between the paver stones, and I'm gonna add some more rocks here just to kind of give it a little more substance. Obviously I have to do a lot of work to the side over here. There's just a lot of trash and concrete and just garbage, and it's a mountain. I have to level it out. Well, I have to do a little bit more backfilling, but this came out really nice. The concrete end caps went together really well. I also still have to do some sand filling, but overall it is really, really solid. And then this came out looking great too. Stacking rocks around. I might want to add more small rocks to this area. I just need to add more small rocks overall, but obviously I still have a lot more cleanup to do. Coming down the path, it's just perfect right up to the house. And then coming down the other direction, down to the street, we have the other end cap. Again, more sand filling, but so far so good. It looks great. And again, I have to do a little bit more backfilling here because when I step on it, the ground kind of squishes down. But I'm not terribly worried about it. I will be getting more dirt soon. Let's move on to the side of the house. Walk over my pathway here. Hopefully not break my neck. And so I filled this in with rocks and gravel so that the rain can permeate into the ground. And then I started stacking the recycled concrete off to the side. This is what I'll be continuing this weekend. This weekend I also intend to get some sand so that I can start doing my pathway. Once I complete the recycled concrete on the other house, I can come over here and get a pathway done in my house. And I got some cleanup to do, obviously. I got a lot of work to do. But that's because I've been just hyper-focused on getting this side done. So that's all I've got for you this week. Like I said, kind of a short video, but next week we're going to get right back into it, and we're going to keep plugging away and hopefully maybe have a working car, because Jesus, what the was that? That was just some wood. I think I got some cleaning up to do.